The Chevy Colorado's recent redesign has left many people in awe, as with its stunning looks and excellent capability, the Colorado is at the top of its pack. However, as good as it is at first look, the Colorado isn't without its faults. From reliability issues to appalling quality control, the new Colorado has been adorned with quite a few problems that might be a deal breaker for you. So let's not waste any time and delve deep into 6 problems with the Chevrolet Colorado you must know about. Number 6. An unrefined, harsh ride. The Chevy Colorado is undeniably a very confused vehicle. GM has tried to make a good all-rounded with it, and although the vehicle does well in most areas, Chevy dropped the ball on the most important part, which is the ride quality. Nobody buys a vehicle of this type and expects it to be harsh and uncomfortable. Such a compromise is just unacceptable for a vehicle of this caliber. And yet, that's exactly what the Chevrolet Colorado is. You see, because the vehicle utilizes leaf springs at the back, the rear suspension tends to be quite a bit more crashy and bumpy over uneven surfaces, making the whole driving experience very nauseatingly insufferable. This is only amplified by the fact that all Chevy Colorados come with a very tall ride height for added off-road ability, which requires the vehicle to be even stiffer. Therefore, it is easy to see why the ride quality seems to be amongst the top complaints that owners have for the Colorado. Now, if that wasn't enough, because of the tall ride height and especially because of the leaf springs at the back, the Colorado is even worse on the open road, as it has enormous amounts of body roll when driving around bends. Therefore, if you're looking for a comfortable family truck, we'd suggest you take into consideration how harsh the Colorado can be. Number 5. No body style options at all. Another point that had us scratching our heads was the complete lack of body options, as the Colorado comes exclusively as a crew cab. Now, sure, we understand that the crew cab is the most popular layout for most pickup trucks, especially mid-sized ones, and the lack of an extended cab or a single cab will not hurt Chevrolet's sales that much. That said, since only the Toyota Tacoma and the Nissan Frontier come with an extended cab, and the latter isn't very popular as a model in general, Chevy could have offered the extended cab too. It would have allowed them to compete against Tacoma in this regard very well. You see, the Colorado is already one of the cheapest trucks in the segment, and the truck would have been a couple of grand cheaper than the Japanese offering, and its entry price would have easily been the most affordable in the entire segment. Not to mention that tradesmen and people that it would have been a perfect workhorse truck for them, as the tall ride height and leaf springs, which have been the Colorado's Achilles heel in terms of ride quality, are exactly what would allow it to be incredibly capable as a do-it-all tool. Additionally, there's another reason why we're baffled why the Colorado came exclusively as a crew cab. Number 4. Interior space is very compromised. Honestly, we don't know what Chevy was thinking when designing the Colorado's cabin. This truck should have been much more spacious on the inside, especially considering that its truck bed is amongst the shortest in the class, lagging behind the Ranger by a whopping 10 inches. The front seats aren't that bad. Sure, knee room could have been better, but that's the price you pay for a wide and tall center console, and the Colorado isn't the only vehicle that suffers from this issue. However, the biggest problem comes from the back seats, which are awfully cramped considering how small the bed is. The rear legroom is just 34.7 inches, which is identical to the Ranger, as is the headroom of 38.3 inches. That said, the seating position itself is very weirdly angled, making the interior feel even more cramped than it is. Now, sure, this won't be a problem for those who intend on driving kids in the back. However, it will be a very unpleasant experience for adults, especially tall ones. Number 3. Terrible interior quality. When the new Colorado first appeared, we were all stunned by how good looking its interior was. It was just a perfect amalgamation of style, modernity, and practicality, and it also looked like it was of premium quality too. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. The Chevy Colorado's interior is, without a doubt, abysmal compared to its rivals. Seriously, the Nissan Frontier feels like a luxury car compared to it. Virtually every surface of the interior is made from hard plastics. It can be argued that this has been done to make the vehicle more durable on the inside. However, most peripherals are made from flimsy, cheap plastic, which gives the interior a very nasty feel and is not reassuring at all. Now, granted, we understand that the affordable price tag of the Colorado had to be achieved somehow. However, we'd argue that the interior should have been the last part to skimp out on. And sure, the higher trim levels are a noticeable upgrade over the lower trims. However, they're still a far cry from Colorado's key rivals. Honestly, if you're looking for a more driving-oriented Colorado, just go for the GMC Canyon. Sure, it's a bit more expensive. However, for that added bit of money, you'll be getting a much better built interior and a more comfortable vehicle altogether. albeit it too suffers from a firmer than needed ride. Number 2. The engine is just not good enough. Engine downsizing is inevitable, and Chevrolet is amongst the first manufacturers that decided not to delay this process. As a result, the Chevy Colorado, unlike its predecessor, is now outfitted exclusively with a 2.7-liter Turbo 4 engine with 2 different power outputs. Now, don't get us wrong, we're not bashing the 2.7 for its capability or reliability. For all intents and purposes, GM has given their darndest to create an inline 4 that is both as capable as possible as well as reliable as possible. However, as much as they tried, the truth is that you simply cannot do much with this engine configuration. First, as good as it is, the Turbo 4 engine is inherently much more complicated of a powertrain than the 3.6 V6 found in the previous generation. And it's not like it's any more capable than it, as both engines produced a max power output of roughly 310 HP. Additionally, the lower output version found in the new Silverado is only marginally more capable than the old 2.5 Ecotec naturally aspirated engine, which begs the question, why did GM even bother? Additionally, since this is an inline 4 layout, the new engine is considerably less refined than the V6 engine, as inline 4s aren't exactly well-balanced engines. This is only amplified by the fact that it is turbocharged, meaning that it has a smaller utility window than its predecessor, which had a very linear torque delivery. Let's not forget that the engine is also very unpleasantly noisy at high RPMs, making the truck even less appealing for motorway cruising than it already is thanks to its rudimentary suspension. Finally, the lack of a diesel powertrain means that you won't exactly get an economical high torque variant, as the 310 horsepower Turbo 4 produces noticeably less torque than the 2.8 Duramax diesel found in the previous engine. That said, we must give GM credit, as even with all these issues, they managed to create a truck that produces enough torque to propel it to the absolute top of the pack in terms of towing. Also, diesels have mostly been phased out nowadays in regular pickup trucks, and they've been replaced with hybrids, which brings us to yet another problem. The Colorado lacks a hybrid too. This is a massive issue compared to Colorado's competition, which makes it less desirable than them. Oh, and speaking of the competition, number 1, the Toyota Tacoma is just plain better. There, we said it. Honestly, in our eyes, the Toyota Tacoma offers the same kind of usability and practicality as the Colorado, just in a much better package. First, the Tacoma, believe it or not, is a considerably more comfortable vehicle than the Colorado. This is because the Tacoma comes with coil spring rear suspension, making it both better at ironing out potholes as well as much more composed around the bends. Now sure, it's nothing to write home about, however, that should tell you how harsh the Colorado actually is. The Tacoma also offers a practically identical amount of interior space as the Colorado, despite being a more practical truck overall, which should tell you how badly GM designed the Colorado's interior space. Furthermore, the Tacoma's interior is considerably better built than the Colorado, as everything seems both well-fitted and made from the right materials too. Soft touch materials can be found on the dashboard. However, hard and durable plastics are still present where wear and damage could happen most often. Plus, the Toyota Tacoma also offers something that the Colorado doesn't, which is a hybrid drivetrain, making it truly a much better all-rounder overall. Sure, none of the Tacomas are as good at towing as the Colorado, but honestly, if you're that into towing, you should just get a full-size truck at that point. And finally, there's the matter of resale value. The Chevy Colorado, due to how mediocre it has always been, isn't particularly well known for its firm resale value and desirability. This is in complete contrast to the Tacoma, which proudly sits as one of the most popular and most desirable pickup trucks on offer today.